Video, I'd like you to be able to describe the plant, leaf, and chloroplast structures as they relate to photosynthesis. So we're going to look at a number of different levels of structure here that are important to the process. Photosynthesis, the overall chemical formula is here. We take carbon dioxide, water, light energy, and turn it into sugars and oxygen gas. Now, we're going to see where the plant gets these substrates from and what it does with these products. So if we were to look at a plant, the water, as you know, is going to come in from the roots and go up through what's called xylem vessels out to the leaves, where it gets used and a fair amount of the water evaporates into the atmosphere. So those are called xylem. Now remember that we talked about this when we talked about water and capillary action, because the xylem vessels operate with capillary action to pull that water up. And the sugar products, once they are made in the leaf, then go back down or to any other parts of the plant and out to, say, feed the roots that need to grow through what's called phloem. So that carries the sugar, the sap of the plant away from the leaf. Now, inside the leaf, you remember looking at the leaf cross-section in the microscope last week, and you remember there's quite a bit of an air space actually in there, and you saw the skin, the epidermis on both top and bottom of that leaf, and then in near the top were packed these cells full of chloroplast. In the lab, what we're going to look at this time is the oxygen and CO2 enters through and exits through the stoma, a structure that's kind of like a pair of fat lips that can open and close typically on the bottom of the leaf. And so they're kind of an opening for the gases to enter and exit. And also water evaporates out through that opening, which is something the plant doesn't necessarily want to lose, but will when the stoma are open. And now if we were to look inside one of those cells packed with chloroplasts, let's look at the chloroplast itself. As you'll remember from the other class, we have the double membrane here on the outside of it. Inside the chloroplast is quite a complex structure of granum. They kind of look like stacks of pancakes or something. And that's what it looks like in an electron microscope, where you can look inside a real chloroplast. And each piece of that stack is called a thylakoid, with a thylakoid space and a thylakoid membrane. And it's the thylakoid membrane where the pigments are that absorb the light. And so you'll see that that's a very highly folded membrane for lots of surface area for that light to be absorbed. Then the space in the chloroplast between the granum and the double membrane is called the lumen. So we're going to see later, when we talk about photosynthesis, that the light reactions with the pigment molecules occur on the thylakoid membrane. Some of the products are hydrogen protons are pumped into the thylakoid space, and in the lumen is where the Calvin cycle occurs. And also remember that plants aren't the only organisms that photosynthesize. Of course, in fact, most organisms that photosynthesize are not plants. There's many of the protists, the seaweed, many single-celled protists like Euglena, and many of the bacteria are photoautotrophic as well. So photosynthesis is certainly not just a plant thing. So in review, xylem vessels suck the water up from the soil, phloem distributes the sugars, stomata are the holes in the leaves for gas exchange, and the structure of the chloroplast, we looked at the thylakoid membrane, thylakoid space, and the lumen were the main parts of that. And in lab, you'll see a model of the chloroplast as well.